Fischer. I'm a registered dietitian, assistant extension educator with the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Well, we definitely know there's been a rise in the obesity levels. That's everywhere that you see in the headlines. And so we're certainly fighting that level, seeing that percentage be, about 1 in 3 Americans being obese. So in that aspect, we're seeing that there's enough energy or calories available. We may not necessarily always be consuming the right amount of nutrients that we need to in order for health. So there's that paradox that we start to see as far as how can we be having rising levels of obesity, but yet we still say that maybe there's an issue with people not having access to food. Food scarcity is not having enough food available, and that's not necessarily always the issue that we have with a lot of our population. We have more of what we deal with food insecurity, where there's food that is there, but they may not have access to it. So I think there's two different areas, and food scarcity isn't so much of a domestic issue right now, but it's definitely more of a global issue of something that in the future I know is a big concern. At that basic level, we see malnutrition. So, I think 1/3 of all deaths of children globally are caused by malnutrition. So not having enough calories and enough protein there to sustain organs working, to sustain glucose to the brain, definitely leads to death. So that's the basic level that we have to have, so malnutrition. We also see the protein energy malnutrition leads to stunted growth, to stunted organ development, so we see changes in cognitive abilities as well as increased rates of chronic disease as they get older. Well, food and health are connected. They're essential to each other there. But there's, I think the importance of it depends on what context you're in. So you might have it looking at somebody who's at the very basic level. If you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that first level of physiologic needs, so air, water, sleep, food. If you don't have those, you can't move on to the next levels. So food in that sense is just a basic survival mechanism. We need it. We need those calories, those protein, all of the nutrients in order to just survive. In terms of health, you might have somebody on the other spectrum. Maybe you've reached all of those other levels and you're able to actually use food for not just looking at meeting basic hunger needs, but looking at it in terms of being instrumental in your life, instrumental in a way that can promote disease prevention, that can help protect you from illness, that can lead to a really higher quality of life. Getting people to change is, an individual thing. So everybody has their own barriers that they have to overcome. You have to have a knowledge basis there first as well. You have to have a self-efficacy. You have to believe that you have the ability, to be able to do that. So that's where we see that there's a lot of barriers that you have to overcome in order to make changes first, and where things need to go and how all of the sociocultural things start to play into it. So feeling like you have the ability to do it, providing somebody with the knowledge, helping them develop skills, those are all kind of the groundwork that has to occur first before you can actually make a change. We know that people also have different abilities to self-regulate themselves. So how do you tap into that? And so in terms of working with families or individuals one-on-one, it's finding out what's important to them, what are their priorities, what's kind of driving that, and helping them to work through and set their own goals so that it can be something that you're really just facilitating the process and helping them move through what they need to do to get to the next level.